Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Employee to Boss podcast. My name is Haley Hayhurst. This week I have a episode about personal branding. So I have talked about personal branding before on the podcast, but this is kind of a new perspective because I'm speaking with Liz Salzman, and she not only is a personal branding photographer, but she also owns her own studio in Toronto that she rents out to other photographers and does her own photos in. We talk about how she started her journey to photography, how she niched down into being a personal branding photographer, because just like business, there's so many different ways that photography can take you. We also talk about how she opened up her own studio and how she's grown her business in Toronto. So if you go and connect with her on Instagram or listen to her on, other platforms, she's definitely very big into manifesting what is possible for her. And she also just is a great business owner, a great person to follow. So Liz helps transform and bring life to your magnetic personal brand vision through photography. She loves turning moments into memories, and it's why she got into photography in the first place almost 10 years ago. Her passion has evolved into helping women transform and bring life to their magnetic personal brand through photography and coaching. And she says that this is her life mission. So you can definitely tell through this episode that she is passionate about what she does, and I'm just so happy that we had this conversation. If you are looking to get into photography or open up your own studio, definitely go and check out Liz because she just is so inspirational. We originally connected because she took my clients' branding photos. So if you go back and listen to my episode with Jenelle Tremblett, the host of the Ebb and Glow podcast, you can go and look on her Instagram and see all of Liz's work. And so it's just so fun to connect with other female entrepreneurs through connections like this. So let's get right into this episode with Liz Salzman. Liz, welcome to the Employee to Boss podcast. I am so excited to talk to you. I think this conversation is going to be really, really fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. So if you want to start off by introducing yourself, telling the audience kind of what you do and how you, became your own boss.
Yeah, so I am a personal branding photographer, but I've been all kinds of different photographers in the 9 years that I've been doing this. I started off as a wedding photographer and just kind of evolved and found my niche, which is now personal branding. And I also am a studio owner, which it's been like a year now since I've owned my own photography studio. But yeah, I'm a photographer.
That's awesome. I know so many people who want to get into photography. I was actually just telling someone this earlier today. I had one of my friends take some photos for me for my new podcast artwork and things like that. And we were just all drinking one night and she's like, I want to get into photography. Who will let me take photos? And no one else, we were all like, sure, yeah, whatever. But I was like, I'm actually going to hit her up because I always need new photos. Who doesn't, right?
Honestly, being a photographer is so much fun. Like it's usually so easygoing and like you're with people who are just so excited about their businesses and what they're doing. And it's just like fun. You get to be creative, have a good time. It's like a little party in a session.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's so many different types of photographers too, just like coaches, businesses, right? So how did you, decide to go into wedding first and then really go into more personal branding and working with business owners?
Yeah, so my whole journey with photography started by me picking up my sister's camera. She was the one that was originally into it. I must have been like 16 or 17. I picked it up. I started playing around with it, taking pictures of my friends, and I was really into it. And all of a sudden, I was like, never without this camera. So I bought my own camera, and then someone I knew was a wedding photographer and needed an assistant. And I was like, yeah, I want to try, like, why not? And then I just started doing weddings with her every weekend. and I loved it. It was my first real introduction to photography, and I learned so much from that. I didn't go to school for photography or anything. It was really just learning from my mentors. So I did that for 5 years. And in between, I would do lifestyle shoots for mainly people I knew. I never marketed my business or anything because I didn't consider it a business at that point. It was just like a side, like hobby or side hustle, really. But I did lifestyle. I did a lot of families, a lot of people I knew. And then I actually moved cities. So I'm from Montreal, Canada, and then I moved to Toronto. And then when I did that, I didn't know anybody here, but I decided I didn't want to do weddings anymore. It just, to me, didn't feel right. I was giving so much energy that I was just exhausted, like for a week after. So when I moved here, I just started networking mainly on like Instagram and found a few clients that needed photos for like their blogs or their Instagram pages. I guess they were influencers. So I started with that, and I really liked it because it was very low pressure and it was a lot of fun. And they used those photos and would post about them. And that was really fun for me to see. So eventually I met some more people. I dabbled in real estate, in cars, in sports. And then I met a coach who I actually hired to be my coach, my business coach. And I started doing her photos, and then all of her clients and friends and followers started booking me to do their stuff. And I was like, you know what? Personal branding is actually the best for me. Like, I love this because I love speaking with entrepreneurs. I myself have been one since I was a kid. And yeah, it was just so energizing. And at the same time as like taking their photos and make them feel so amazing and having, it's just so nice to see them use their photos to market their business and build their businesses. I was also like learning from them, and we were learning from each other in our sessions. So every session I had and every client I had, it was just like a whole new growth opportunity. So to me, personal branding is like the greatest thing, the greatest niche for me to be in. And I just love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like that journey. What were you doing as a child entrepreneur? I'd love to hear about that too. It's so cool.
Well, when I was like 4 years old, I was creating jingles for imaginary products being sold at Walmart. It started with that. My parents are both entrepreneurs, and so I grew up with that influence. But I was a princess for birthday parties as my first ever job. And then a few years later, I ended up owning the business. And that was one part of it. At age 13, I sold makeup. I was like working with Avon. I mean, wasn't supposed to be because I was underage, but with my mom,
Yeah.
So I've always just wanted to kind of do my own thing and be my own boss and have freedom and flexibility. That's always been my goal. I've had, regular jobs and everything, but I've always had a side hustle.
Totally. That's awesome. Okay. I want to talk about really how we can use our branding photos. And so, I work with podcasters who, have podcasts. Sometimes they have a business. Sometimes they just have a podcast. It really depends. But for a lot of them, it's easy just to hide it behind the microphone, right? It's easy to not show your face. You can just put out some graphics that you create in Canva or, just like some audiograms, stuff like that. And then no one knows what you look like. But I really think that's really where, my clients connect with me, right? Like we get on calls, they can hear my personality, they can see the way that I talk, all of these things. And it's super important to be posting photos of yourself. If someone's listening to your podcast for an hour a week, they're going to want to know more about you, right? And so at what point should people be getting their branding photos done?
Oh, right away. As soon as they even have an idea for a business, honestly, I would say get a photo done of yourself because it is inspiring. Like you get those photos back and you're feeling so good. You're feeling ready to work. I recommend it at every single point in your business. When you first start or first have the idea, when you're like building out like your website or your Instagram or your brand in that way. And then as like regular maintenance for social media and marketing. At least for me, when I get my own branding photos done, I feel so inspired. Like as we're doing the shoot, when I get home from the shoot, when I see the photos, I'm so ready to work and build my business. So, and my clients say the same thing. So I really think it's important to start as soon as you can. It's an amazing investment in your business, I think. So yeah, as soon as you can. And then definitely once you've figured out like your branding colors, if this is like the beginning of a business, if you've figured out all of your branding, then, work your photo shoot into that. So you have it match your website and what you're looking for your Instagram or your, all that kind of thing. So as soon as possible, it's so important.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So for people who are a little more shy, and like, to be completely honest, when I started my Instagram, I was like, why do I need to post myself? Like, I'm just editing people's podcasts. Now it all makes sense to me. But in the very beginning, like, I didn't have a business background. I went to college for journalism, which is all writing. And so, the visual part, like actually posting photos of myself, I was like, why do I need to do that? So what advice do you have to people who are kind of in that space?
So people need to see the face behind, the brand. They need to know who you are. That's how they're going to connect with you best. And so if you're shy or more introverted and don't really like having your pictures taken or being in front of the camera, it's kind of the thing where like, you kind of have to face your fears a little bit with it. But, the good thing about having photos taken is that like, with video, it's kind of a little more scary because you're talking to the camera. Like, I don't know, that to me is terrifying. But with the picture, like you can take, your photographer can take 100 photos. All you need is that one good one. And they'll get it for you. And then you have that to use for whatever you want. And you don't have to constantly be on video, right? It's just like one photo.
Do you want to start growing your business rapidly in a really fun way? Do you want to increase your visibility and profits? I have just the thing for you. My course, Great Guesting: How to Grow Your Business Through Being a Podcast Guest, is now available, and it's guaranteed to get you on podcasts. Do you want to connect with more clients, share your story, make stronger connections, and grow your audience? But do you find that you're second guessing yourself, are indecisive on a topic because you're into so many things, and thinking, is this even possible? You'll love this step-by-step guide on how to be a podcast guest. We go over 6 lessons that are knowing your story, narrowing down the topic, finding podcasts to be on, setting up your audio, preparing to record, and of course, marketing, because that's what I'm all about. Being a guest can be fun, but if you don't have a plan to go with it, you're really just spending the hour talking. You're not moving your business forward, and that's exactly what this course is designed to teach you. You can find this course on my website at Espresso Podcast Production, and I guarantee you that you will be a guest on podcasts in no time. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense, because when I was posting all these graphics about like podcasting, or I've seen so many businesses just post graphics only. And so nothing really stands out on their account, right? Like, you don't know what they look like. There's no deeper way to connect with them. And so what are like some of the first steps to actually like booking that branding shoot and getting mentally prepared?
Yeah, I think it's best to find a photographer that you really vibe with, and you might not know that until you reach out to them and start that conversation. But the first step is look at a bunch of people's Instagram pages or websites or portfolios, see what really resonates with you. That's the first step. And then, have a discovery call or send a voice note along and see how you guys vibe together. And then, yeah, I think that's step one, obviously. Make sure you vibe with your photographer. Step two is create a Pinterest board and really get a sense of what you really want. It might be hard to think of that, like just on the spot, like, what do I want my photos to look like? Not everyone knows that, and that's totally okay. But getting a Pinterest board or a mood board started is a great way to kind of have a better idea. And then once you have that, you might still not know exactly what you need. And that's also okay. You'll bring that to your photographer, and together you'll create some beautiful images together. So I have a lot of clients that honestly don't even do the Pinterest board. They just come, they just show up, and then we create magic. And it's great still, because we both in the moment have our different ideas of what we want to do. And then some other clients that create like full mood boards with a shot list and everything. And that's great too. So it really depends on, I guess, how organized you want to be or can be. But I'm personally am on the side of like, I'm just going to show up and we're just going to figure it out. Like when I get my photos.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way.
A lot of people are, and that's totally great too. But there's also to get in the right mindset for your shoot. That's something that you really do have to work on. So I would say, like, if you have a shoot on Friday, take that Thursday evening, maybe journal about, what you're hoping to get out of this, what your intentions are for the shoot, really get in the right like mindset for being in like the best place you can be on that day. Get your outfits in order, like pick some things that you feel really good in. You obviously need to feel good in what you're wearing. I would say a photo shoot is not the best place to try something new. So if you've never worn a red lip before, I probably would stay away from that, because you want to feel the most you possible during a shoot, right? You want those photos to really reflect you and your personality. So going through your outfits and finding things that really make you feel good is important. Journaling on everything before, and then the day of, pick good playlists that you like to listen to and jam out before and during. Yeah, I think that's important. That'll get you in the mood for it. So yeah, those are some tips for getting ready for a photo shoot.
Awesome. I love those. It kind of reminds me of like first dates, like pick out your outfit, listen to that pump up playlist. No, that's
pretty
awesome.
much.
Just like get in that mindset. I love that.
Yeah. Just another tip, bringing props that make you feel comfortable too is important, because a lot of people feel really awkward in photos. I'm one of those people. I like to have my camera or a prop camera with me, whatever, when someone's taking my photo. So I always recommend bring something that you can hold in your hand, at least to start off with, because it helps to have something that you're holding on to when you take photos to feel less awkward.
That's a great tip. When I did my branding shoot for the first time, I brought all of these mugs because my brand is called Espresso Podcast Production. So I just had like little coffee cups. I was like, oh, this one's cute. This one's cute. And so, no, that's a great tip, because that definitely helped. Sometimes I don't know what to do with my hands, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so it's really difficult.
Yeah, right. But usually when you find the right photographer, they'll coach you through all of that in the time, right? Make you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. So another thing about photography, like branding photography, I think there's this misconception with a lot of like new business owners when they have all of these expenses, right? They're starting a business. They have to figure out how to start a website, how to do this, how to do that, how to actually make money. And I was listening to you on another podcast, and I know you invest in your business, quite a lot. Like this is something that's important to you. And so how do you kind of like talk to people who are like, yeah, I need photos, but like, why can I not just like take them on self-timer?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So having a professionally taken photo makes honestly such a difference, because you need to use that for, let's say you're speaking somewhere or you're on a podcast, you need to have a photo that represents you to send out, for PR purposes, marketing purposes. You're not going to put like a selfie in like your emails or, so you need a well lit, like a beautiful photo of yourself for all those reasons. And it's not that I think that selfies are bad, like they're great. And I think having a good mix of, your iPhone shots, your selfies, and professional photos, I think that's a great combination. But I don't think that it should be like just selfies or just iPhone shots or just, photos. I think it's good to have a combination. It shows professionalism, it shows that you invest in your business like you want others to invest in you, perhaps. So I think it's important for those reasons too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because honestly, if I'm looking for a coach, I'm probably not going to hire someone who has like the selfie angles from like way up here, right? And so finding like that professionalism, that's a great point. It's just like another investment into starting your business that when I had my first photo shoot done, I think I got 8 photos out of it, which I was like, oh my gosh, that's like barely anything. But I was able to put them on my website, on Calendly, on Instagram, all of these different places that it can live for a long time before I like have to update them. So I think it was like another year before I got photos done. But that
a little goes a long way with professional photography.
It does. Because honestly, if I had more, I'd be like, what am I going to do with all of these like 20 photos, right? That would be overwhelming. But yeah, no, 100% I agree.
I have a lot of my packages one of my packages includes 20 photos, another includes 30, and then there's the option to purchase more. And then another one that includes 10. And some people, book 5 shoots a year, some people book 1. It really depends on their strategy when it comes to posting. Like some only post their photos that we take together with like graphics in between, which is cool. And then others use them mainly for just emails or PR purposes, and that's great. But I mean, even just having 5 or 10 photos can last you so long depending on your needs.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I put them on my website. I use them on Instagram. Is there another place that like you and your clients really use them?
I have some clients that use them for the PDFs that they send out to their clients. I personally have that. And then on Pinterest, a lot of clients will make Pinterest posts. And then for like any kind of newsletters, emails, ads, website, pretty much anything you can think of to market your business, like flyers, even business cards, like anything.
That's smart.
Yeah, I find Instagram is definitely the most common. A lot of my clients market their businesses on Instagram primarily, so they use them a lot. But yeah, you can use your photos for anything. And if you have them, you're more likely to use them and market yourself anyway. It's like if you didn't have a great photo of yourself, you probably wouldn't be as inspired to make certain things for your business.
Totally. Because I mean, you're not going to print out a big selfie of yourself on like a business card, right? Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. So another part of like for people who are listening who want to get into the photography industry, or maybe are freelance photographers and they don't have a studio, maybe they just go to coffee shops or like their clients' houses or wherever the photo shoot happens. But they want to start a studio. What made you really decide that starting a studio was for you?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about how it is here in Toronto. There are tons of studios in Toronto, which is a dream for photographers. It makes it so easy for us to find a location to shoot in. But what I was noticing when I was going to each of these studios is that we were kind of limited with space and decor and furniture. And it all was kind of just looking the same. And I was craving something that I can make my own. I was craving a home base. And I was listening to my clients and their needs and my needs. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this studio. I'm just going to make this studio. I'll use it for me. I'll use it for my clients. And I know that others will book it too, because there's a big market for that here right now. So honestly, one day I just saw a sign on the front of a building, and I took a picture of it and I saved it. I was like, you know what? This will come in handy one day. And one day I was feeling like extra courageous and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call, I'm just going to see. He brought me in to view the units and I was like, okay, I guess I'm opening a studio. I guess I'm doing this. My business was luckily at a place where I felt like I could invest in that. And I knew that, you know, my clients would be booking it as well. So it felt like the right move for me. And yeah, so I rented it, I leased it, and then I spent a whole month renovating it and furnishing it. And wow, that was a crazy time. But it was so, yeah, oh my gosh, that was way more intense than I expected it to be. A month of working like all day and all night on that place, but it was so worth it. And then, yeah, I mean, the first month or two was hard because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like a little bit of imposter syndrome too kicked in, and I was like, what am I even doing here? What? But once I got over that and started marketing it and posting on social media and sharing with my clients, then there's also studio booking platforms, which were a huge help for me because I didn't have to really do anything there. It's like it was on this platform and people could just book it and I didn't have to promote it, which was nice. But yeah, once that started picking up, it's been great. It's been amazing. It was something I knew I needed to do. It felt right for me, but yeah.
That's awesome. I really didn't, I mean, I'm not a photographer, but I didn't think of like the extra income stream that would create too. Like you have your clients who you're taking photos of and you don't have to rent out the space, but then you also have this beautiful space. And I saw photos on your Instagram, like your space is so cute. It's very like light and airy and just perfect for, you know, personal branding. And so I don't know why I didn't think of the fact that it's another income stream, but that is so smart.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like an extra part of my business. Like I use that for my clients, but most of the time it's rented out by other people and other photographers. And I've developed partnerships with those photographers that they get a discount if they book the studio. And so that's been great too. But yeah, it's for anyone to rent. So it's a whole other income stream for me.
Very, very, very cool. I love that. And you're saying that there's so many in your area. Did you feel any competition or like how did you design your place to make it stand out kind of from these other places?
So I don't like believing in competition. To me, it's like we're all doing our own amazing thing and the right people will find us and, you know, that'll be just right. But for the studio, there are a lot, but I knew that what I was building was unique. And I knew that there would be people that would be exactly what they're looking for. So how I designed it to stand out is that the space that I viewed, it was first of all a dump when I saw it, but I did see potential. And I knew that a lot of my clients need kitchens and there were not many kitchens in studios in Toronto.
Interesting.
And in the space that I found, there was a perfect opportunity to build a beautiful kitchen. So that was number one. I knew I needed a kitchen. Number two, there was an elevated loft space in this studio that I knew I could use as a bedroom space. And I do have a lot of clients that needed a bedroom space for whatever reason. And influencers too use that a lot. So there was that. And then I wanted multiple different vignettes within the studio so that there's a lot of variety because that's huge for me. Like I value variety for my photography style. So I just thought of how many different spots can people shoot in here. There's like unlimited almost. So I had like a different living room set up and then another living room set up and then a corner like reading nook and then another corner. And then the bathroom is also, you know, set up for photos. So it was just important for me to have all those different elements. And that is what I think stands out from every other studio that I've been to is that they're, you know, smaller and more just like one's kind of set up. But yeah, I really just wanted something where anybody can use it and do multiple different things in the space.
Right. Did you have someone like come in to help you with the interior design or did you do all of that yourself?
I did. A designer who's also a client of mine. Her name is Vanessa Mano. I did reach out to her, and she came into the studio with me before we started the renovations, and she kind of helped me map out how it would look and what I needed to do for the renovations of the kitchen and the bathroom. I know nothing about that stuff, so that was extremely helpful. But then when it came to just buying all the furniture and choosing out all the furniture, she gave me some ideas for sure, which was so helpful. But I pretty much just looked for what I liked. Like I found on like Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores, and then furniture stores. And I just looked for pieces that I really liked. I didn't necessarily know how it would all fit together, but I knew that like I like that would be great in photos. I like that would be perfect in a video. So I picked those pieces, and I pretty much just put everything into the space once it was all painted and done. And then I spent a day just, moving things around until I found what I liked. And that's evolved quite a bit over the last year and a bit. Every couple months I switch something up, or I buy something new and I sell something. And so it's always kind of changing, which is nice, but it has the same feel to it.
Yeah. Do you have a team that you work with, or is it just you?
So it's me full time. And then I also have someone who helps me with editing sometimes. And then someone who helps me clean the studio in between bookings. And then a videographer who works with me as well.
Very cool. Yeah. I love the team
Mhm.
aspect when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Yeah. No, it is so nice having people that like are working together. I also do have a great agency that does the social media for the studio.
Yeah. That's always a lifesaver, right?
Oh my gosh, it really is. Because it's hard. Like as business owners, we're expected to also be content creators and social
Mhm.
media managers, and you can't do it all sometimes. It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes my Instagram is a little, lacking, but it always gets there, right? I attract the
Oh yeah.
people I need to.
Exactly.
I always get it, like everything up there, but yeah, definitely that's a great investment to make into, an agency who's going to be dedicated to growing that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Well, do you have any other advice for anyone who wants to start, a studio or become a photographer? Any like inspiration?
Yeah, if anyone wants to become a photographer, I would say practice as much as you can. Get a camera, any kind of camera, and just practice. Take your friends out, offer sessions to people, just practice as much as you can and build up a portfolio, and then start posting on Instagram. Also get a branding shoot for yourself, but just try as much as you possibly can, and yeah, share as much as you can. And YouTube is your best friend too. If you don't
Definitely.
have a mentor around, YouTube anything you can. I personally didn't go to school for it, and I don't think you need to. So I think as long as you enjoy it and are interested in it enough to go out and learn from either the internet or people around you, then that's all you really need.
Yeah,
And yeah,
I
just go
agree.
out and do it.
That's awesome. Well, Liz, this has been so fun. I love to end every episode with the guest sharing 3 actionable steps that the audience can start with today. So, is there a challenge you'd love for, maybe someone who wants to get into photography or someone who wants to start their own business? Just like really actionable steps that they can do today.
Ooh, okay. I would say map out and journal. Why do you want to start this business? What about it, interests you? Why do you think you want to do this? Find a mentor, whether that's a friend that has done what you're wanting to do, or hiring and investing in a coach, or even, someone that you look up to online. Find them, learn from them as much as you can. That's a great first step, I think. It's something I did, and that, really helped me a whole lot. Working on mindset is so important, whether that's through like finding a daily ritual, like going on a walk, listening to a meditation while on that walk that has to do with business and starting a business, and just priming yourself to get into that headspace of like, I am a business owner. Even if you're not yet, I am a business owner. And saying those affirmations, that's a good next step as well. And then step 3, get yourself a branding shoot and start, feeling good about what you're about to be doing, and start posting some photos on Instagram. And I think that'll really help.
Yeah, definitely. I love those. Really getting into the mindset and then actually like doing it, because I think you can like trick yourself into thinking things really easily. So I love those. I love those steps so much.
Manifestation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how can people connect with you if they're in your area? How can they get a shoot with you or just, learn from you?
Yeah. So you can check out my Instagram page, Liz Salzman Photo. You can check out my website, lizsalzman.com. I'm available for photo shoots in the Toronto area or anywhere else, really. And then also for coaching for anyone like budding photographers or anything like that. So I'm available for that. And then my studio is called Amica Studio. You can find it on Instagram, amicastudio.to.
Awesome. Did you take Janelle's branding photos?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone listens to the episode I did with Jenelle, you can go and look on her Instagram too to see Liz's work.
Yeah.
Awesome, Liz. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Employee to Boss podcast. If you made it to the end of this episode, I hope that you implement the actionable steps from this week's experts so you can get started with your business today. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the Employee to Boss podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps more than you could ever imagine. Remember, a little progress each day leads to big results. We come out with a new episode every Tuesday. To access our show notes, transcripts, and courses, please check out espressopodcastproduction.com.